Civilized Society.
In this Peasant radio episode, we're gonna take a real free form. We're going off the rails, because I just want to talk about myself and not much else. But this is an interesting thing, okay? So you read my last newsletter, Spiritual Soap on Substack. If you want to check it out, you should. It's probably my best work. I think the newsletter is actually the best work that I do, besides the podcast.
Thanks. I appreciate that. So doing a lot of confidence inspiring to our listeners and viewers.
I'm pretty good at the podcast too, but sometimes I gotta carry the dead weight of certain segments one might call the word of the podcast. But either way, okay. So in this essay that I wrote, it's very weird because I was watching some talk with Alicia Keys, whatever, and she was talking about this stuff, how I do the songwriting and this stuff and whatever. And I just remember being
Who is Alicia Keys?
Don't pretend that you aren't stained by culture. You don't know who
I don't know
Alicia
one song.
Keys is? Yes, you do.
I don't know one song. No, I don't.
The song that's like da 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 da. Oh no, how does it go? I'm not gonna sing it on the podcast. That would be folly for me to try to.
Do you know
sing.
the name of it? Apparently, I'm not the only one that doesn't know who Alicia Keys is. You don't either.
I can't.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank. Whatever.
Okay.
Who fucking cares? It doesn't matter. She's famous. She's been making music since the 90s. She plays the piano. So anyway, she was talking about music and whatever, and it was very inspiring. And then I kind of had this moment where I really wanted to go right now. And usually I schedule my writing. Usually it's like, okay, I've had this great idea for what I want to write, but I'm going to do it tomorrow during my work time. But I thought that's kind of lame. That's kind of not very artist-like to be struck with inspiration and then be like, yeah, let me schedule that in tomorrow, between my checking email and my workout. So I thought, what if I just wrote right now in the middle of the night, 2 glasses of wine in, just let it go, see what happens. And there was a higher ratio of typos than normal, but hey, whatever. I figured that the people that are subscribed to my newsletter paid are not going to be that worried about typos, and instead they're going to really appreciate such a stripped down version of my writing. And so I actually wrote about what I did recently on twitter.com, where I threw shit at Sam Harris for being all alarmist, like, oh, Kanye is the end of the world and whatever. And it's like, I don't know, something rubs me wrong about public intellectuals commenting on something like that, because it kind of feels as if, one, it makes everything feel more serious if we're all treating everything like an emergency. You could also just brush him off and be like, he's dumb, clearly he's inarticulate. Why is everyone even looking at him for these for legitimate views? That makes you the fool if you're looking to Kanye for your views on social politics or whatever. But whatever. So I felt like there was something weird about this. And I'm like, I think social media makes us so reactive and makes everything feel so heightened that things that once upon a time would have been like, oh yeah, that's stupid and offensive, whatever, we're moving on. Everything feels like it's another sign of doomsday. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe my perception is off. Maybe it is doomsday. Maybe our great republic falls to Kanye West. Maybe that's how we go out. And if that is how we go out, then fuck, maybe it's time. Because I just feel like if that's going to be what brings a society down and requires us all to be up in arms like this, news coverage, public statements, whatever, then we're already done. It's over. So whatever. So I wrote some of this. But of course, making these comments, which are it's not at all a defense of Kanye's comments, but more like a call for some perspective about who we're talking about exactly. And if it's really as insane that a rapper who is known for being unhinged and offensive is unhinged and offensive. Are we shocked? Is this really how it ends? So whatever. So I wrote about all this, but I also tweeted about it. And of course, the tweeting brought in some people that were like, no, it's terrible, whatever. And but I had this moment where I felt very, like I said something spicy. I said that Kanye West has contributed more to American culture than Sam Harris ever will. And I do stand by that. I do think that's actually correct. But I was purposefully being shitty and like provocative because I wanted to see what kind of responses I would get. And I wanted to see if I could tolerate that, knowing that I knew my own intentions. And it was fine. And it actually made me feel really like liberated to speak more openly, which is a problem, I've struggled with since forever. It's why all my work really comes back to that and why I focus so much on free speech issues, because I have free speech issues. And so I wrote about this in the newsletter. And I wrote about the newsletter. I wrote it in the middle of the night, 2 glasses of wine, edited it, and sent it out, which I never fucking do. I never just make something and put it out right there. I'm always like incredibly precious about it. I take like an entire week to write one weekly newsletter, which is like, it's this kind of repression. It's actually like a repression. And so, for what it's worth, I know that like you have your issues with me doing this because you think I'm going to be canceled. I'm going to have my bank accounts freezed by Trudeau and JP Morgan. But there is always something fascinating to me about people that can't fucking shut up, like Alex Jones, like Kanye West, because I'm the opposite. I'm so restricted in what I say, and I'm so worried about even the well-intentioned things that I'm saying being misconstrued as malicious that I really repress my speech, even though it seems like I'm not. But being specific about something, being provocative about something, actually kind of broke that down for me. And it allowed me to then write very immediately and then send it out shortly thereafter. And it felt very interesting. So now let's do a criticism. Why don't you criticize? I keep you on the podcast just to criticize my my writing, to give me feedback. It's the writer's workshop now. Just fucking talk, because I've talked long enough, so it's your turn now to say something. You can say whatever you want. You're allowed.
I think that there's so many different things we could talk about, but I don't relate to your issues. That's just a simple problem. The problem. I was awake at 5 a.m, attaching screen wire to a canvas, painting artificial suns on a landscape. So the idea of I drank 2 glasses of wines and sent a blog post out to me is not like a like some sort of like gigantic active personal anarchy or whatever and freedom and liberation.
It really is though. Okay.
It is for you. I understand, but you're at a basic level of that.
Oh, and you're so free. Can you elaborate where your freedom is? What is the freeing act for you that I couldn't possibly fathom for myself?
I just wouldn't think about that. I wouldn't construct it in that way. Like, oh, I think you are really severely repressed in terms of your artistic
I am.
output. I agree. I actually don't disagree with you.
That's why an action like that is such a big deal, because I never just make something and finish it. I draw it out. Yeah. I avoid it. I, take as long as possible and then stop. So me just coming up with an idea, acting on it, and then finishing it, this is some major fucking self-transcendence over here. So sorry if it's not exciting, but...
No, and it probably is for a lot of other people that have a hard time actually making anything. And I can understand. I can't understand that, though, because I do like to make things. And I just make things even if they're bad or ugly or whatever. So that's not really my...
you have different problems. We won't go into that.
No, I agree. No, we won't, because this isn't... I don't treat this podcast like my own little free psychological session like some of us do. But that's fine if you want to. Now, in terms of your controversial tweets or whatever, here's something. No, Kanye West... Actually, I'm going to pay respect and call him Ye, which is my understanding. He became trans and he transed over to wanting to change his name to Ye.
Yeah.
So I'm going to follow Google guidelines and call him by his proper name.
That's great.
I don't have a lot to say about that one way or the other. What I do have to say is I don't have Twitter. Or I do. I have a Twitter profile, but I don't use it. And so for vast swaths of humanity that don't use Twitter, this is just a non-issue.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
but he's like on the news now, which is weird. That's why, look, we
Well-
won't go into it, but isn't it a little weird? Isn't it a little weird?
He was-
Everybody's parading around this guy that's clearly unhinged and offending everyone, but it's like, hey, let's keep parading him around. Are you really offended? Or are you
he's
exploiting
parading
him
himself
for airtime?
around.
Yeah, but they can choose. I mean, these are the same type of people that are like, oh, the platform. And then, like, they are platforming him. So,
Well, that's not exactly how it happened, to be honest. What happened is he wanted Tucker Carlson, and they were good with the White Lives Matter T-shirt because they could contain that. And then he started to talk about some other stuff that got him into some trouble. And then he started to go a little further into that. And so that was the actual how that actually happened in time.
you know what I think is funny,
So-
though? Is that
A lot of things.
yeah, everybody keeps trying to use him for their political purposes. And it backfires on everyone because then tomorrow he does something that you were not wanting to defend and does not fit into your camp, but you defended him yesterday and was trying to bring him into your camp yesterday. And so it backfires on everyone every time they try to use him, because then tomorrow he completely flips and goes, in another direction that's insane, that's inconvenient for your narrative. And I think that's
What's a tad
kind of
inconvenient
fucking
for
funny.
him too, isn't it?
I don't
Like,
know what's I don't know what his schema
I'll
of
tell you what's
good and
inconvenient
evil is. I
for
don't
him.
know where he
Would you
lives
like
in
me to
his
tell you?
mind.
I'll tell you what's inconvenient. When you give $2 million to the family of George Floyd and then 2 years later you get sued by his family, that doesn't seem like a master political strategist or anything like that. That's, and so you can say, oh yeah, people are using him, but he's also just kind of makes dumb decisions.
Yeah. No, I think
Right.
that's
So,
that's the weird thing, is that it's like,
it's not weird.
no, but he makes dumb decisions, but then that's why it's not good to try to use him for your political narrative, because then it's like,
Why not? He just got a bunch of Tucker Carlson probably just got huge ratings for the show.
well,
Doesn't matter
that's
to
true.
him.
Yeah, that's true, I
So,
guess.
It's whatever.
I don't
To
know.
me,
Depends on
look,
what you care about.
I'm not your age. I never gave a shit about Kanye West. I never listened to his music. I know who he is because he's so popular and a big deal. But that was there. I literally remember a friend of mine said, "Hey, listen to this Kanye West CD." It was a burned CD.
It's amazing.
And I was like, no. And I threw it away. And that was the end of that. And that was in the year 2008 or 7 or something like that. So anyway, it's just not my guy. But
Okay.
But it also just reminds me of the breakdown of people like Britney Spears. And there's always a pop star that through their own minds or through the pressure of being who they are, which I actually think is probably very great, end up having, and I'm not one to take these people and say, oh, they're all just mentally ill. Because a lot of times what happens is people think that unpopular opinions, they just throw mental illness out there because they don't want to actually talk about the unpopular opinions. But this isn't a new thing. There's a bunch of people that rise to fame and then kind of self-immolate.
I
for various
want to
reasons.
self-immolate, not like in a racist way, but like in a Britney way, but a little less egregious, I don't think I want to shave my head. I don't think I'm into that. I'm just going to keep bullying Sam Harris on Twitter. That's my path to freedom.
I guess what I would also say is I don't think, it's not clear to me that either Kanye West or Sam Harris have contributed greatly to my culture, to my American culture, or whatever it is. Now I'm sure they've both helped other people through their music and their musings on Buddhism. But it's just two characters that never touched me. It's a big world. We all got different people.
What do you
we
call
listen
it
to.
when people try to like divide up the union? A separatist? What is that?
Well, I don't know.
I feel like you're being un-American because Kanye West is for everybody. He has helped contributed to American culture. And if you're an American, that's part of
How
your
so?
culture. Music.
Why don't you go ahead and defend that? So his music
It's the
has
best.
defended.
Yes. I mean,
Give me
I
some of his
fucking
best
remember.
lyrics.
No,
Yeah, give me
what do I
some of his
look
best-
like? I can't do that. I can't rattle off Kanye West's best lyrics.
Well,
have to
then
think about it.
what you're saying is kind of retarded.
Just 'cause I
you're
don't
like he's the
keep it in
biggest
my
contributor to
memory.
American culture, and I'm asking you to tell me what in theory, a
So-
songwriter has poetry. So spit some lyrics.
You want me
Is that
to
what they say?
rap Kanye
No, I just
West
want you to
lines?
tell me what's so good about it.
Well, I do think that he's actually really good at lyrics. He
Okay,
one
then
of
would
the
you name me
songs-
one of the lines
Fine,
that you like so much?
Fuckhead.
No,
I'm
you
gonna
have to
look
Google
it.
it.
I have to
because
look
you
it
don't
up.
actually know because it bounces off of you because it's not that important. That's
dumb.
the reason.
That's dumb. I
No,
don't
it
remember
isn't.
books either, and it's not because they're bad. It's because I don't
Well,
remember
then-
their lines. That's crazy. You're wrong.
Well, then how do you even suggest that
'Cause
you're
when the
an
song
arbiter
comes
of what is
on-
good for American culture if you're just a blank slate, if everything
Absolutely.
you're just like moving through the present and you can't remember anything.
I
mean,
can remember. I know the names of the songs just because I don't remember the fucking lyrics.
what
on
was
the
some of the names
spot.
of his songs that you like? in
Diamonds.
particular?
That's the song that I would listen to. That's the one where he talks about like Sierra Leone or whatever. And the lyrics are actually very good on that. And there's other ones that I can't remember. I mean, the entire album of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. What? Hello? Like, I remember where I was when that album came out because it was such a unique, insightful, original piece of fucking art. And he does that continually. I'll stand by Yeezus. Yeezus is an excellent album. Yeezus is an excellent album. What a great name also, Yeezus. Only Kanye would come up with that. So listen, yeah, of course he's contributed to American culture. Don't be a fool. On the contrary, I mean, he's even like
I
influenced
just disagree.
art.
I'm sorry.
Well, we're not here.
But to be
for
fair,
that.
I don't know it that as well
You don't
as
listen
you
to music either, so it's a
pretend to do, even though you know it, but you only feel it because you can't remember anything about it. So whatever. So I don't know if either of us are the best cultural commentators on Ye's legacy.
I
but,
literally am, but that's okay. We can pretend I'm not.
Well, go ahead. Continue. Tell me why
No, I'm
he's
done.
so
I don't-
important.
he's just
well,
great.
why are you done? Because when you really drill down to it, he's just a famous pop singer, and he may be good.
I absolutely
Look,
disagree. He's created some of the most unique sounds in rap and hip hop. Like he's as a producer, as like an actual like beat maker, he has a very unique sound that he's able to create. That's just really fucking cool and unique to what he sounds like. And so I really I love that. I feel like it's inappropriate for me to be showering love on Kanye West at this particular moment in time.
I don't think you're even doing a very good job of
We've
it.
released
I
an
don't think
episode
you're-
being like Kanye's contributions to American culture.
You're
It's
not
sketchy.
making a very good case for it. You're just saying you enjoyed his music.
I don't want to
which
make
is
a
fine.
case for it. I want to talk about myself. That's why we're here, is so I can talk about my self-transcendence, which, yeah, Kanye, whatever, has tangentially helped with that. Sam Harris, too, in a way. God bless him. I say that because it's kind of a diss,
Sam
actually,
Harris
to say God bless
helped you
Sam
transcend.
Harris.
Oh no, tell me more. How did Sam Harris help you transcend the self?
But he's such a, look, I like Sam Harris. I respect him. I think he's a good thinker. I think he's really clear in some places and really not on other places. And the reasons, like the areas where he's a not clear thinker are fascinating because it's not because he's dumb. It's none of that. It's actually that some way that his mind works really makes him prone to a certain kind of ideological possession in certain spheres, like, anti-Trump shit. He's just lost his mind. It's so strange to watch. So
Can you tell me something about Sam Harris, one of his ideas that
are you
you
trying to get me
particularly
to talk
like?
shit about Sam Harris and to
No,
praise
I'm asking
Kanye
you
West?
one of the things you just said you thought he contributed to the culture a lot too. So would you please
Well,
tell me one of his major contributions?
The
I don't really
atheist
know.
shit. He was one of the early people that was like, we gotta be atheists and religion is bad, and he would criticize Islam and whatever. So he was
Oh, that's why he was
like a
little I forgot.
Christopher Hitchens light. Very light. Very light. And I know that he was a little bit of an earlier proponent of psychedelic usage for, self-growth and whatever. So that's kudos to him. Like I respect all of that. I just think he's a little bit of he has boomer energy though. Like he's got
I'm just going to
boomer
go on
energy.
record. The real controversial take here is that I don't really like Kanye West or Sam. What's his name? Sam Harris.
You
I
love
don't
to
really like
pretend
either
that
of them.
you don't live in the world. You don't live in the world.
I live in a different world. There's a lot of information in the world, and we select what we pay attention to, right? And so I made a selection a long time ago that my life wouldn't probably be much better by listening to Goldfinger or whatever that song was that Kanye West had in
That's
2006.
not
Gold
Digger.
Whatever.
Goldfinger
whatever
is
it
actually
was.
an electronic artist. So nice
Well, it's
job.
also the villain in 007, I think. But whatever that is, right? I was like, okay, I don't want this. And Sam
for
Harris
you.
just never came across my radar. That's all.
Good for you. All of these things. Good for you. God bless us all. Each one of us.
Good for you.
Good for me. Good for me. Good for you. Good for all of us. Good for you, viewer. But you know what's also good? How much time do we have? We got 8 minutes. Okay. I was going to say something about myself again because I really want to get into this process that I'm in.
Tell us more about yourself.
This is what it is. This is
Please.
I'm just being forthcoming about it, okay? Everybody on the internet is talking about themselves, essentially. I'm just, like, not pretending not to. So, listen, the thing is that, like, I want to change my perspective because I think that social media has rotted my brain in a way that I'm always thinking about. I'm always thinking about how other people react to things, how other people are interpreting what I'm saying, blah, 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 because the feedback is so immediate also. That's why, like, as soon as I posted my spicy, like, Kanye tweet, it's like, boom, immediately, like, some person being like, rah. And it's just, you cannot deny that kind of feedback loop that's so immediate and often so low quality and unpleasant is going to influence your work, like what you create and share. And I know it's done it to me. And so I like that I've kind of like, you know what it really requires? It really requires me not being worried about people thinking that I'm like a bad person or that like I have malicious intentions and reading that into my writing and whatever I say, which is what the entire game of the internet is. It's people being like, I see what you mean, but I'm going to interpret it in the worst way possible so that I can then get mad at you, even though what you mean is something different, but that doesn't matter. And so I know the game. I've grown up in the game, and the game has ruined my art. So this is what I'm doing now. I have to let go. I have to look at me. I'm here, no makeup, in a pajama top with a stain on it. I'm going to pull like a soft Britney Spears, you know, like I want to kind of have a breakdown in my ego. It's your super ego, actually. So that I can get in touch with like the most true self-directed kind of artistic expression that I can reach. You understand? You laugh. You love to laugh, but you don't understand how fucking hard that is. That's literally the journey of life, okay?
We all have different struggles, like you said, and I agree with you. But I've made it clear that I'm not making my struggles
It's just incredible that you imagine to be haughty.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
I'll tell you, I'll make it very simple. Look at all of the things I have made. Literally just physically made. I just make all of these paintings. I paint.
Do you want me to drag you? Do you want
No,
me?
I don't want you to drag me.
Okay, because you're making me want to drag you, and I'm not going to do it.
No, you can't. And so the thing is that I just don't really feel like I have the same repressive problem with making art. That's all.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take this bait because this is what it is that like, what do I say?
Bait.
Yes? Yeah. Good for you.
I think.
Or do I
why don't
say
you
like,
just
well,
agree?
what I know is actually, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to.
Why don't you just agree that I have made things? I make things.
You make things. You ain't do much else, but you make things.
That's true. That's true. That is accurate. That is also true.
Great.
I agree.
All right, this is enough. We can do another episode.
We need to talk about your kombucha shot lifestyle for another half hour. Or do you want to get down to brass tacks?
I don't feel done.
Great.
I don't feel done because you never actually gave me any feedback on my piece, so that was disappointing.
On the writing thing, I thought that I read it and I thought it was good. I did notice one spelling mistake.
Oh, there were several.
I thought that your decision to put in like the italics, the kind of stream of consciousness thing about a tall person that was being mean to you in your past, was a choice.
You said it reminded you of James Joyce. That's what you had told. I would just like to reiterate that for the listeners. You used it as an insult because you're like, it's already been done, but I'll take that insult.
Yeah.
Go read my James Joyce-esque.
What was the real point? The real point, I'm trying to struggle.
You know what? Actually, okay, 3 minutes.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid of something. What? I'm going to tell you what I'm afraid of in the last couple of minutes of this.
Yeah, please.
Which, by the way, the other easy way to deal with this is we could just stop and just continue the discussion. I can edit it. So anyway.
Well, we'll see.
I'm afraid that we're all forgetting faster. I have this terrifying idea that the use of the phone and the computers is frying everyone's memory, because I can't really remember that much about your essay.
Oh God. Oh.
You know, like I get the basic idea. It was like, I'm free to say what I want because I tweeted at Sam Harris or something. And then it was also like, but there's also a tall noodle man telling me what to do. And it was like the youthful, and people have emotional impressions of at youth that tend to go forward in time, which I agree with you on all that. So I do remember some of it. But I've noticed with other things, though, that like memory,
I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, this isn't something that like isn't known. I think there's already actual research to show that like higher rates of short form media consumption. But I think that it's usually just tied to smartphones is how they do the research. But I would say it's short form media consumption, like this kind of like bite-sized shit constantly, which is what you get on your smartphone. That actually degrades your memory. Like you're worse at remembering stuff. I think it's because, if I had to guess, I wonder if it's because we're like loading up our memory in some ways with so much little shit. It's like when a computer has like all the cookies, you know, like the cookies. We got a bunch of cookies that we need to clear out. And the only way you can clear it out is to go off the grid, which I might do. I'm thinking of doing that because I'm going to be traveling for this next month. And one of my options is to disappear. Thinking about it. Okay, so a little bit of psychological theory, a little bit of my great writing. Actually, we could talk about that in the other episode. It would be nice if we could talk about that briefly in this one, but we've got what? 1 minute? 1 minute? That's not good. Because I did want to talk about that idea of like childhood thing, because that's actually what I had a weird memory of. Was
all you have to do is just through the power of editing is turn everything off and then turn it back on again. So the files are small, and then you can send it, and I can edit it into one thing if that's what you want to do. Do you understand the technology?
Yeah, but should we make the episode longer?
See, this is why you do struggle. Like, make a decision about something and have spirit and believe in it instead of just, what should I do? Should I have another kombucha shot and go find myself in the mountains?
Okay, yeah. Here's my decision. I'm going to run the podcast without you. Okay, let's restart.
In your mountain retreat.
We'll be right back, folks. You remember that? Do that? The folks? Maybe we can put that on you like the ring. Okay, we shall restart.